I knew it would only be a matter of time before they still continue to make Kyle Rittenhouse this kind of symbol of, or this beacon of light, at least for a certain group of individuals, to the point where they are holding him up in so high esteem that it's scary enough to think that they might one day build a statue of him or somehow memorialize him. So this is in Texas. This picture you see of Kyle Rittenhouse and this cop is in Texas. And this cop and probably department has been hit with a lot of criticism because they took a selfie with Kyle Rittenhouse. What I find to be very interesting that this is a cop in Texas, and how just a couple months ago, what happened in Uvalde, you had these cops that were scared to go into the school and take out one gunman who eliminated multiple children and staff. But you have time to take a picture with a guy who killed two people and severely murdered and severely injured another. Go figure. But I'm going to go ahead now and read this article coming from Raw Story. A Texas police department is defending one of its officers for snapping a selfie with vigilante gunman Kyle Rittenhouse. And notice they calling him vigilante. Like I said, they literally are making a hero out of him, or have made one out of him. Thrall police posted the photo showing the unidentified officer smiling next to Rittenhouse on their official Facebook page, welcoming the teenage gunman who killed two demonstrators and wounded a third during a protest against a police shooting in Kenosha, Wisconsin, reported Fox News. Make those stops. You never know who you might meet. The post read, "Today it was Kyle Rittenhouse. Welcome to Texas." The post was shared more than 1,500 times and received more than 1,700 comments, and the department updated the post to respond to widespread criticism. "I must have missed something," the post read. "I believe that this young man was arrested, charged, indicted, and then found not guilty by a jury of his peers. Is this not how our country works anymore? The hate in these comments is terrible. If you have information that is contrary to that, I would honestly love to hear it." Now, that's the response from the department this cop works for in response to the people saying, like, what are you doing? Like, beware of this department right here, because they letting you know whose side they're on. Rittenhouse, who was 17 at the time and living in Illinois, said he crossed state lines in August 2020 and used a rifle to defend businesses and from protesters following the police shooting of Jacob Blake, a 29-year-old black man. He was acquitted on all charges during a November 2021 trial, and the 19-year-old is reportedly attending Blinn College, a public junior college in Texas, and hopes to transfer to Texas A&M University. You know what I find very, very interesting about this whole situation involving Kyle Rittenhouse and the people that's defending him? You had a lot of people who had a lot of stuff to say about George Floyd when what happened to him, and saying, don't make a martyr out of him, and he was this and he was that. But there's a lot of stuff that you could dig up about Kyle Rittenhouse before this happened that should tell you not to make a hero out of him. Like that video where he was fighting that girl. Remember, he was wearing them ugly Crocs. I can't stand Crocs. And trust me, it has nothing to do with him. I just never liked the shoe. But he was fighting this girl, whooping her ass while wearing some Crocs. I will never forget seeing that video, but they don't talk about that. They don't talk about the real reason why he was actually there, besides the one that they allowed him to give. And besides, let's be real here. We all watched that trial. That judge up there was giving this man lifeline after lifeline after lifeline to ensure that he would walk from this. And he did end up walking. But look at the system that we are in. Now, like I said, think about what the department that this cop works for said. They basically said, in so many words, well, Kyle Rittenhouse was found not guilty. Like, are we bad for taking a picture? This reminds me of the story I recently did about that Hispanic chick, or that Filipino chick, who was going to some kind of MAGA rally in California. She was driving without her license, and they pulled her over, and she pulled out that she had a white privilege card, flashed it, and the cop took a selfie with her. Notice who these cops take selfies with. Look at the type of people that they take pictures with. First it was her, now it's him. I'm just waiting for them to take a picture with someone wearing a Klan's robe. That won't be so shocking now, will it? I mean, think about it. If they get pictures with her and with him, hey, go for the gold at this point. Go the distance. But the department that this guy worked for sees absolutely nothing wrong, excuse me, with him or with their cop taking a picture with him. This ain't, I don't know why there's all the hate comments. You don't know why? Of course they don't. They agree with everything that Kyle Rittenhouse is. He is like the archetype for what they probably wish they could be. So since they can't really do it, they'll just go along, with his narrative by being his biggest fan. And this guy said, you'll never know who you're going to meet. When you stop people, you just never know what you're going to meet. When they say that, they basically have turned him into a celebrity. Because see, the whole George Zimmerman thing, that's kind of fizzled out. Don't get me wrong. He still needs to get got. But his little moment, his 15 minutes of fame is up. Now it's Kyle Rittenhouse's turn. Now it's his turn. I can only imagine what the families of the victims are actually saying right now. And it's crazy because whenever they brought up about the victims, they made sure, I think it was one of them, they kept bringing up about his past. They made sure to bring it up. Now, granted, if what they said about him is true, I don't agree with that. However, what did that have to do with what happened that day? Absolutely nothing, because Kyle Rittenhouse didn't know anything about that guy, but they made sure his little fan base, his little stand base, made sure to go and dig up some info about this guy to constantly put that out there. But one, that guy wasn't on trial. And two, whatever was going on in his past had nothing to do with why he died that day. Because Kyle Rittenhouse didn't know that about him. He didn't go and say, hey, I know this about you, and in order to protect so-and-so, I'm going to take you out. But they made sure to make it seem like that's what it was. And that's what they kept peddling. Just like when George Floyd died, when he was murdered, they kept bringing up all this other stuff about his past that had absolutely nothing to do with what Derek Chauvin did. But they made sure to constantly bring that up and try to say, well, that's why he was murdered. Derek Chauvin had no idea what was going on with George Floyd in his past, and that was not the reason why he murdered him. But let them tell it that was a good enough reason. I keep telling you, these people are evil. These people are wicked to the core of their own existence. And keep in mind, Kyle Rittenhouse, he took out 2 white men and severely injured another white man. These were not black men that he took out, even though many will argue, and I could agree, that we know who he was trying to target up there, but I think the brothers up there checked him. Now, I do have one last question. Imagine if this was a black cop and he was driving around and he pulled over, say, O.J. Simpson. And O.J. Simpson, or the cop, it was a black cop, and he just said, oh my God, it's O.J. Simpson, it's the juice. Can I get your picture? Can I take a picture with you? And he agrees to do it, and they posted it on social media. I would like to know what the response would have been, because they still got a hard on for O.J. Simpson. I'm just saying, he was found not guilty too, much like Kyle Rittenhouse. I'm just saying, would the energy be the same, or would the hypocrisy kick in? Now, if they will turn on their own like that, we already know what they'll do to us. I keep telling you, their code is a very, very interesting one. Their code is cold. And when I say cold, I'm talking about COLD, cold as ice. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and end the video on that note. Y'all let me know what you think about it down in the comments. Like and share and subscribe if you are new. Have the bell clicked so you will be notified when I upload a new video or go live. Also, be sure to have your notifications turned on your mobile devices. The links will be down in the description. I will talk to you in the next one.